to the Girl Take No podcast with me, Shaunie Sanders, your host. And today we have a very good conversation, something I'm very interested in because it's something that I know very little about. And so I love to learn new things. But let me introduce you to today's guest. Today's guest is GeNienne Samuels. She is a retired NBA NFL cheerleader. She is an accomplished entrepreneur. She is founder of Sideline Prep, which she's going to tell us all about. She's a coach. She's a public speaker. She is a full-time news anchor in Richmond, Virginia. She's a producer, and she's a game co-host of the NFL Washington Commanders. GeNienne, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know what? Listening to when I'm reading through this introduction, I'm like, she is a busy lady. Okay. She has done a lot, which is good.
Yeah.
Though. So
I really
you have, you've done a lot and you're still doing a lot, which is really awesome. Before I jump into like any questions, give me the story behind the brand. Tell me what inspired you to start Sideline Prep.
Perfect. Yeah. So wonderful question. So basically after being in the NFL for 8 amazing seasons, so I started out as a Redskinette. So I was a cheerleader for the Washington Redskins. That now is the Washington Commanders for anyone out there that's, into the NFL and all things. I really realized that there weren't any services or coaching availability for people that wanted to become professional cheerleaders. There's tons of coaches, there's tons of all-star gyms for middle school, high school, the all-stars, gymnastic, cheerleading at the lower levels. But there weren't a lot of coaching companies to help women once they either graduate from high school or graduate from college to then make it to the professional level. And the professional level could be, of course, NFL, NBA, but then also you have your semi-pro leagues as well. And so I started the company Sideline Prep with a teammate of mine, and it took off. We started getting a lot of emails and phone calls for assistance and help. And one thing led to another. And then here over a decade later, we are still going strong. And interesting enough, the name Sideline Prep, my dad actually came up with that name. So myself and my co-founder, along with 2 of my other teammates, we were all sitting in my family room, and it was connected to the kitchen. My dad was at my house visiting, and we were just all talking about, okay, well, what's the name of this company? Sideline Distraction or, Pro Cheer Prep. And like we were trying to come up with all of these different names, and we wanted to use the word sideline in it. And my dad, eavesdropping, was like, well, what about Sideline Prep? We were like, oh my gosh. And so that name just stuck. And it literally is, we are prepping people for the sidelines of NFL, NBA games. And then ultimately they are the main attraction once it's time for them to perform.
What's so interesting about this is that for the normal person who's like fans, we don't even know that this side of the world even exists. You know what I mean? We don't even know that this side, like there was a process to it and how you get into it, which is why I'm so glad we're having this show, because I think the first time I started really thinking about professional cheerleaders when my niece, she was a cheerleader throughout like middle school, high school, and she wanted to do it on a professional level. And I was like, you could do it on a professional level? Like, you know what I mean? Like I knew you could, but I didn't know it was something, I didn't know how she was going to do it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And that's when I first found out about the steps that she wanted to take to get to that level. And then also I remember back in the day, all I can remember is like the Dallas Cowboys, their cheerleaders, that whole show that came on, which kind of gave us a behind the scenes look on what it takes to become a professional cheerleader. And it is like a true journey. You know what I mean? Like it is a real profession. It is not something people take lightly, and it's hard work.
Most definitely. And it's very competitive. A lot of people don't understand that there's a lot, like you said, that goes into it. It's not just your dance ability. You're not just your performance, your showmanship, your flexibility, your technical skills. Yes, all of that is super important when it comes to the performance side of things, but it's also your mindset, how you walk in with confidence. It's, being sure of yourself. And that in and of itself is something that you've got to work on. But it's also nutrition and fitness and fueling your body body the correct way, having the stamina to be able to get through the rigors of prep classes and auditions. It's your appearance, knowing what colors look good on your skin and your skin undertones, your makeup, your hair, your teeth, your nails. It's your interview skills. You have to be able to get through an interview and show the judges and the coaches that you deserve to be on that team through your speaking ability. It's your education. It's your resume. It's your application. It's your intro speech, being able to introduce yourself to all of the judges or people in the audience, and then being able to pull all of those things together and become the full package and present the full package during the audition process. Oh, when there are a couple of other 100 people vying for the same spot. So it is really a lot. And a lot of people also don't know that for most NFL and NBA teams, and obviously semi-pro teams as well, this is our second job, right? So a lot of us have full-time jobs. A lot of us have full-time careers. And then after the 9 to 5, we're getting in the car, we're going to the studio or the stadium or the arena, and we have practice. And then we have game days, and then we have appearances, and then we have tours overseas. There's so much that goes into being it is very rigorous.
Let me ask you another question regarding the journey. Did you always see yourself as an entrepreneur? Are you thinking of something like, hey, I just kind of fell into this thing because I saw a need?
As an entrepreneur, kind of fell into it. I saw a need and wanted to capitalize on that need to help other people, and didn't really think about it in the sense of, oh my goodness, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a boss. I'm going to be, a leader of this company. Saw myself more as I'm going to help people become more prepared, because I remember when I auditioned for the first time for the NFL, I was scared. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what I was doing. I fumbled through the process. Luckily, all things turned out well, but it would have been nice to just have someone there to guide and to assist me. And I will never forget Janae Patterson. I give her a shout out. She was one of the veterans on the team. Her, along with Katrina and Renee, they were already on the team. And I remember Joy. Oh my gosh, these are powerhouse women that were Redskinettes at the time. And the first day of auditions came to a close. They probably saw that I was stressed. One of them came over and just said, hey, we're having practice tonight. Would you like to come over and just practice with us? And it just meant the world to me. It literally meant the world to me that these other, strong, courageous Black women noticed that I was struggling and came over and asked me if I needed some help. And I went and I practiced with them that night. And then the next day for final auditions, I ended up making the team. And I really do think that it's because they lended that helping hand to me, saw me when I was struggling. And so I feel like I'm paying it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. How did you get into cheerleading? Was it something that you wanted to do? Did you do it in high school or middle school? How did you get into that career path?
So believe it or not, total tomboy growing up. So I was, along with my sisters, outside playing flag football with the boys and the fellas. I was a total tomboy growing up. Did not pluck a single eyebrow until I got into college, right? So I grew up in a household of athletics, but I ran track. So I ran cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track, and ran all through middle school and high school. And then my sophomore year in high school, a friend of mine was like, hey, let's skip indoor track practice and go audition for the cheerleading team. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a cheerleader. And she didn't want to go by herself. So I went with her. I ended up making it and she didn't. And so I ended up cheering my sophomore year, got cut my junior year, cheered my senior year, and in all honesty, just fell in love with it. And then ended up being a co-ed cheerleader at the University of Richmond in college for 4 years. And that's what led me into the pros. But if you would have told me then that I would eventually become an NFL and then an NBA cheerleader and start my own company helping people become professional cheerleaders, I would have told you there was no way in the world that was happening. I didn't like makeup. I didn't like anything that had to do with beauty and glam. It just wasn't me. And then to turn into basically helping to coach people to, show their beauty on their inner beauty on the outside through those things, makeup and, hair and lashes and all of that stuff. It's kind of ironic that it turned out that way.
That is so funny to come from being such a tomboy to being such a glamorous girl. Because when we look at the NFL, NBA cheerleaders, they are very glamorous women. They're beautiful women. They're very glamorous. So that is definitely interesting to hear. Let me ask you this. When did you know, when you started Sideline Prep, when did you know that, you know what, we're on to something here? When did you get that feeling that this was going to be something bigger than what you expected it to be?
I would have to say probably within year 2. I think year 1 was kind of fumbling through. You're so excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting, I have clients. Definitely year 2, because at that time we were on a one-to-one business model and all of our sessions were one-to-one. So you were either meeting with me or the other co-founder. And we started to become overbooked. Like it got to the point where we didn't have enough hours in the evening after our full-time jobs to help everybody. And then we were pushing into our weekends. So we were helping, young women over the weekends. Then we started to say, okay, well, we can start, using virtual training for some of these sessions that we are pretty much saying the same thing over and over again, and then maybe meet with them just in a 15-minute one-on-one session in person. So that's when we really started to realize that we were onto something, is when we were becoming overbooked, and we then needed assistance and help to service.
That's amazing.
Clients.
Let me ask you this too. Part of the entrepreneurship journey and being an African-American woman, did you face any struggles to start your business, to get people to, one, take you guys seriously, you know what I mean, and say, hey, this is a serious business, we're doing this? What struggles did you guys face trying to do this?
I would say the struggle was less around race and more around the importance of what it was that we were doing. My co-founder, she was also a minority, and we both, I think, because we were two minorities from two different minority classes, people accepted us. They didn't look at the skin color, they looked at the credentials. And so luckily in this industry, once you become a pro, that's pretty much what you need to be able to teach others to become pros. So it was less about the color of our skin and just more about our credentials. And I think from the outside public, it was more like, hold on, people will pay you to get on a pro team. Like, I think people didn't really understand that concept. People would actually pay us to help them become professional cheerleaders. And so I would say that would have been the biggest struggle that we had kind of pushing forward. But then, that was short-lived as well, because, the more that you grow your company and the more that you have success with your company and the more, people that you're placing on teams and helping to get on teams, that in and of itself built the credibility and the naysayers.
Did you guys have to start building relationships with other teams, or did you already have those relationships established when you started?
Yeah, great question. So we started with the teams that were right here in our backyard. So both of us were, on the Commanders, then the Redskins. I eventually transitioned into the Wizards with the NBA. So I had those relationships there. We knew the coaches and former cheerleaders from the Baltimore Ravens, the Baltimore Blast, a lot of the teams right here in the area. And once we started to cultivate and get people on those teams and built the respect and a great reputation in the DC metropolitan area, then it was a lot easier for us to then expand to other teams and to other cities. And so, networking and just, cold calling, cold emailing to try to build those relationships. And then also, once some of our lovelies, we call our female clients lovelies and our male clients gents, once our lovelies started to get on these teams, then those teams also started to hear about Sideline Prep as well. But yes, relationship building is super important. We don't like to start providing services and coaching for a team until that coach knows that we are providing services and, for that team in particular. So we try to be very respectful of each team to make sure they understand what our business model is, and we're here to assist and help them and not take from them.
When someone becomes a part of your academy, are they a part of the organization for the long haul, meaning throughout their entire professional career, or is it more so, hey, we just get you the training you need, get you prepared, and get you on the team, and then it kind of like separates from there? Or is it just something they're a part of for the rest of their career?
So we always say like once a lovely, always a lovely. And I get that from my days as an NFL cheerleader. Whenever we finished our rookie season, we would have our ring ceremony where we would get our pinky rings. And it was a ceremony where our coach would basically say, you know, once a Redskins cheerleader, always a Redskins cheerleader, and he'd put the ring on. So we kind of had that same concept in the sense of once a Sideline Prep lovely, always a Sideline Prep lovely. But all of our coaching programs have a beginning and they have an end. And so they receive a certain level of service and care and one-on-one attention during that program. But then once they graduate, they know that we are literally a text, a phone call, or an email away. If they ever need assistance or help, we are there to help them. Once they make a team, any and all services that they need are for free. So if they need assistance with, you know, maybe some confidence or picking up a new skill set that they don't have that the team requires, we provide all those services for free. And then if someone that graduates from one of our programs wants to come back in because they haven't yet made a team, they're heavily discounted. But we still provide advice and coaching, you know, one off, no matter what. Like once a lovely, always a lovely.
What age would you tell someone to start preparing to become a professional cheerleader or become a part of your organization? At what age do you think they need to start? Because I know for me, I cheer when I was like really young and going through middle school, high school.
I really feel like you could never be too young, in all honesty, because there's this big misconception like, oh, well, once you're a cheerleader, then it's just easy to make the progression upward and onward. Not necessarily. Once you are at the pro level, the majority of the teams, even though we're called cheerleaders, are actually dancers. So the typical rah-rah, like motion-based cheerleading that we know of in all-star or, you know, at middle school, high school, or even college cheering is not relevant really at the pros, because it's more about pirouettes and leaps and calypsos and fouette turns. It's more of your technical jazz or ballet elements. So if you are a cheerleader and you want to go pro, I would say start getting in those ballet classes or those jazz classes now. Start learning the technical side of dance. Now, there are some teams out there that have co-ed stunt squads. So like, for example, the Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans, they also have stunters, like typical cheerleaders that they're throwing up, the tumbling, it's important, and all of that. So there are still some teams that do the cheerleading, but the majority of the teams on the NFL and the NBA level are dancers. And then if you are a trained dancer, so if you are ballet and jazz, then I would say start now with cheer motions and drills, because there are some teams that their style of dance is more motion based, where it's very important to hit your motions sharp and hard and with precision. But if you're a trained ballet dancer, you've seen ballet, they're very fluid and very loose. I don't want to say loose, but very fluid and flowy with their movements. They're not like bam, 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 you know, hitting everything sharp. So that's something that the more technically trained dancers have to learn. They have to learn how to be more powerful.
Have you ever gotten a client that just came straight off, like, I'm not supposed to say off the street, but just no background in dance, cheer, but just said, you know what, Jenny, I want to do this. I want to make it work. I know I can. Have you had those type of clients as well?
Most definitely. One person that pops into my mind immediately is, her name is Crystal. She did not have any dance background whatsoever. She came and started working with us, and we are for people like that, because I did not have a technical dance background. I was a cheerleader. So we have programs in place where if you don't even know first of all, I didn't know what a pirouette was, much less how to execute one. That's basically a turn, right? I didn't know. So like, our programs are designed to say, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, like very specific to help you learn the basics. And that's what we helped her do. And she ended up getting on the Baltimore Blast, which is a semi-professional, it's a pro soccer league, but it's not considered NFL or NBA. So she went on a pro soccer team as a dancer, then ended up going to the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, and was the cover model not once but twice.
Awesome.
So she was very successful successful on the pro level, but it took some stages and it took some coaching, and she was a sponge. Whatever we said, she took in and she executed, and she practiced on her own, and she did what she had to do to get the skills that she needed to become a professional cheerleader.
That is so awesome to know. I know a lot of listeners are going to be proud. I'm very happy to hear that, because it's like, hey, you don't have to have that background in training. You can actually get everything you need from Sideline Prep if this is the type of career path you want to go in. Let me ask you this question too, regarding taking a leap into full-time entrepreneur, because as you said before, you was working full-time and then you was doing this kind of like on the side and training people. When did you know it was kind of time to say, okay, I got to kind of step away from this job that I'm doing now and really put everything I have into this, because I see us growing and scaling? When did you know that time came?
Yeah, so let me just back up even before Sideline Prep became Sideline Prep. So when I first realized I was ready to go on my own was when I wanted to get into TV. So I had worked in corporate America for 10 years and went ahead and was like, okay, I'm ready to do TV. I tried television and realized maybe I wasn't ready for that. So I started a consulting company. And did that for quite some time. Did process improvement, strategic planning, BPR work for the government, small sector, and all of that. During that time period was when Sideline Prep was birthed as well. So I had my consulting company that was paying my bills, and then Sideline Prep was kind of like my side hustle, right? So I continued that model for quite some time. And it wasn't until around 2019, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she needed my sisters and I to be there with her pretty much 24/7. So we were going through, 3 days on, 4 days off, rotating and, help with my mom. And because of that, I just could not be at client site to service my clients. So I had to shift all of my attention into Sideline Prep. And when I put 110% of my focus and attention into Sideline Prep, that's when it grew and blew up. And I was able to totally depend on that. Thank heavens, because then COVID hit. And with COVID, companies weren't paying money for consultants. So the one client that I had left in consulting, I ended up losing that client as well. So it was a blessing in disguise in a sense, because then I was able to fully commit to Sideline Prep, and it got me through COVID and, got me through all of those stages. And I haven't had to necessarily go back to consulting full time at all. And now, of course, television, full circle. Now I'm back in television and doing this full time. And I've built Sideline Prep up to the point where my team can pretty much run the business during the day. And then I'm there, when necessary for webinars, live launches, one-on-one sessions when needed with VIP clients and things like that. So it kind of just happened naturally for me, because I decided to take that one step to stop the full-time, business, corporate America job. I'm so glad you said that. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and I always ask them about growth and when did they know they were growing and it was time, or either how you grow. And it was like, we always recognize growth when it's time for us to bring in other people. And I think that's so awesome. Like you said, that your business now is at a place where your team can do everything they need to do, and you just have to show up for only certain things. So that leaves you now to do other things, other passions that you have, which I think is so awesome as entrepreneurs. It's like being able to have that balance, and knowing when it's time. That's growth takes, you have to grow with people. You can't grow alone. And I think that's really awesome. Let's talk about men cheerleaders. Are they called men dancers, men cheerleaders? What's the technical term for them? I want to get it right. I don't want to call them, the men cheerleaders. You could call them dancers.
Okay. I just want to say, because I don't want nobody to be like, that's not what we're called. Yeah. So do you have a lot of men in your academy? Because I want to know, is there a lot of men in the academy?
So we have had 3 people that we've worked with that are now on pro teams, men, and one of the 3 a part of our coaching program. And with that coaching program, we actually sent a survey out to the female clients of ours to ask them how comfortable they felt and if they were okay with him being a part, because it is a very intimate group. And all of them pretty much said yes. Like there wasn't a single person who was like, no way. So he's been very successful. He actually is a dancer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the majority of the people that I tend to attract are females. And not to say that I don't like working with men, but I, love working with women just because I can relate to them so much more. And I just feel like the majority of our service offerings and even our wording and our stories and our examples are all female based for the most part, because that's who we initially targeted. We started this company. At the time when we started, there weren't male cheerleaders on the pro level. That happened, eventually as we kind of went through the past couple of years. Let me ask you
this too. When it comes to the NFL and the NBA, is the skill set to be a cheerleader in each of those organizations different, or is it all just one skill set?
So I would say the underlying foundations of it is kind of one skill set in the sense of performance, showmanship, being an entertainer, being a great ambassador, a public speaker, being able to represent the organization in a great way, loving to do community service and outreach, loving kids. Like those baseline characteristics are across both the NFL and the NBA. I would say the biggest difference is the NBA, because you have a basketball court. Normally those performers are a bit more technically trained, so they have more advanced skills from a technical standpoint as far as tricks within the NBA. NFL typically is a little less technical, but NFL teams are definitely stepping up their technical requirements as well. So it's almost starting to level out the playing field, but not quite yet. You can just do a lot more on a court versus, a field. And because of that, I feel like the requirements are a little bit different.
I want to get into the mindset, because we touched on it a little bit, and confidence, because confidence is big. And I've been having a lot of conversations around confidence, because confidence is everything we do in life. What type of mindset would a cheerleader have to have, not a cheerleader, but a young woman or man would have to have in order to see success in this particular field?
Great question. So, we know that confidence and mindset, literally the foundation of every single thing that we do in life, regardless. And so our coaching program, that is like the first piece of content that they receive. And then every other Monday, they're on a Monday mindset session with me. That's how important mindset and confidence is. And we stress that to them. Like you can have, a triple turn, you could leap higher than anyone in the room, your high kicks could go past your ears, you could be the best public speaker. But if you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't have faith in yourself that it's possible for you to become a professional cheerleader, then guess what? You're absolutely right. But it also works the other way around. So if you do have faith that you can do it, and you know that you've done all that you could do as far as your preparation and your knowledge and your skills, and you walk in with confidence, you're going to be far more successful in that audition than someone who's not confident. So it really it's the exact same confidence and mindset that you need in life to become a professional cheerleader. It's belief in yourself. It's putting in extraordinary action to improve your weaknesses and to improve the things that you know you need to work on. And it's making small incremental improvements, that 1% every single day, to better yourself so that you feel good walking into auditions, so that you can perform like a pro once you get there. And we help them with, just typical, like setting up your morning routine and making sure that your morning routine is sound, and taking time out for yourself, meditation, journaling, affirmations. Like we go through all of that. We go through the importance of an evening routine, and, we go through all of that. Right. But then we also say, you can continue to do all this woo-woo stuff, but you also have to take action. You also have to sure that you have the skills and that you can do the turns and the leaps and that you pick up choreography fast and all of that. But at the foundation of it all, you have to believe that it's possible for you, because if you don't, then you're basically giving yourself a no. You don't even have to wait for the judges to say no.
Yeah, because I would know. assume that being in this particular field to get those no's or to not get picked can be like a blow, you know what I mean, to your confidence. And it's like being able to build your confidence up and keep that going, I think is definitely key. Because like I said, it's just key to overall in life and what we do, and just having confidence in ourselves and then when it comes to our body positivity, you know, do you see any lack of confidence when it comes to their bodies and how they feel about the way they look in certain uniforms?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, we always stress no does not mean never. It means not right now. So in our coaching programs, as long as they audition for a team, if they hear a no and they've completed the coursework, they actually can come back into our program for free and repeat it. And that is because exactly what you're talking about. We don't want a no to mean never to them and to get them down to the point where they don't continue to pursue their goals and their dreams. So we kind of bribe them and we're like, no, come back in for free and we're going to help you, you know, better prepare for that audition. So that is super important. As it relates to physique and fitness, most definitely. If you don't feel good on the outside, then sometimes you're not going to feel good on the inside. But again, that's where those Monday mindset sessions come in. That's where our, you know, mindset and confidence trainings, the virtual trainings we provide, come in, because we want you to feel good on the inside first. Like, that's what's most important. You feel good on the inside and you know that you are at the perfect weight, you have the perfect body for right now in this moment in time. Does that mean that you know, of course, we can always be healthier. Of course, we can always eat better. Of course, we can always treat our bodies better, but that's what the program's for. We're going to help you learn those habits so that you can treat your body like the temple that it is. You know, if your body is a Lamborghini, you're not going to be fueling it with regular gas. No, you're going to be fueling it with premium. So we teach them what they need to do and how to treat their bodies better. But it starts with loving yourself as you currently are. Because if you don't start there, then trying to change what you eat and how often you work out and all of that, it's not going to work, because you're still identifying with the overweight person that doesn't care for your body. Right? You need to identify with the perfect body that you are in right now that treats your body perfectly. Then it makes more sense. Oh, okay, well, now I'm going to eat this way. I'm going to drink plenty of water. I'm going to have my vitamins. I'm going to get my sleep, all of that. So it's a process, which is why our program is 6 months. Every other week, we have our nutrition and fitness session with Jeanette Chandler. She is a former professional cheerleader, owns her own company, and she's amazing. But the foundation of her program, and even outside, you know, the women that she works with that have no desire to become professional cheerleaders, but they're moms, they're regular people, they're entrepreneurs. She works with them on the mindset piece too, because that is the foundation of treating your body the way that it deserves to be treated, which will lead to being healthier, losing weight, feeling good about what you see in the mirror.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about that, because I'm like, it's probably one of the biggest pieces of it, is just being able to love yourself no matter what, and being able to want the best for your body and your overall health, because that's what really comes into play. When we think about because I've heard before that a lot of times professional cheerleaders get exposed to a lot of opportunities. You know, is there like a career trajectory for a professional cheerleader where it's like, hey, you can probably cheer for X amount of years, and then you're introduced to all these different opportunities that can really take you to the next level in whatever career you're choosing? Is there always those type of opportunities for them?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's in the world, it wasn't respected as much as it is now. So I would leave it off of my resume. So whenever, you know, I was interviewing for another opportunity. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, having a strong support system. So the majority of the women that we work with, you know, are either married, or they have, you know, parents or family, friends, you know, relatives or whatever that are helping. I definitely know a lot of the lovelies that are in our program. You know, we'll have Zooms and maybe we're doing a dance class or a fitness class or something, and the kiddo is working out with the mom. You know, so moms learn how to, involve their children in the healthy activities that they're doing as well to create great habits for their kids as well. But a lot of times, their children would be sitting on their laps during our Zoom sessions, and we would get to know the kids and say hi to them.
That was another question.
Yeah, but it's huge.
Two questions before we end the show. First question is, what do you want people to know about Sideline Prep?
Wow, what I want people to know about Sideline Prep is that we care more than anybody else. We really are a company that, yes, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to, get our clients on professional entertainment teams. But what we truly care the most about is helping each individual grow from the inside out. We really want to make sure that, regardless of which way life takes them, whether it's to a football field or an NBA arena or whatever it is, that they have the tools, the resources, the knowledge, the tactics, the tips to help them be better versions of themselves from the inside out. We really want them to be meaningful humans for society and for themselves. And so we focus a lot, yes, on crossing the T's and dotting all the I's on how to prepare for prep classes and auditions. But my true passion is really making sure that they have all the tools they need to be stronger with their mindset, their confidence, that they're eating properly, that they just feel good about themselves every single morning when they wake up. And when they don't, they know how to get themselves out of that rut, and that they remember that in order for there to be an up, there has to be a down. So it's okay to have some down days, but they have the tools to pick themselves up and to keep moving forward and to send out that positive energy and those vibrations to turn a dark day into a bright day, to turn a low point into a high point. And so that's what's most important, I feel like, for anyone to know about our company, is that we just care. We care a lot about each and every single person that we interact with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Listen, the mindset and the confidence is so huge. So I love that you really do hone in on that and focus on that to help build them, to build their confidence in themselves. So that's really awesome. Now, before we end the show, because this has been a really good show and I've learned a lot. I love learning new things. Like, this is something I totally knew nothing about. And now I can actually go somewhere and talk, intelligently on it. I can say, and what I don't know, I can call you and be like, hey, GeNienne, I want to ask you a question. Just so I can sound intelligent when I'm speaking on this particular topic. So this has been really good. So the last question I ask all my guests that are on the show is, what is some of the best advice you received from another woman?
Yeah, so I would say it was actually at a workshop that I was doing attending for the Women of Washington, which is an organization that's kind of off-spun from the Washington Commanders, where, of course, it's the Women of Washington. And it was a luncheon. And one of the speakers, said that as you are on your way up, because, we aspire to always level up. So as you're on your way up, don't forget to send the elevator back down. And that was so, it just hit me. You're absolutely right. As you're on this journey called life, and as you are going from one level to the next level, and you're constantly improving yourself, don't forget to send that elevator back down to help someone else up. Don't forget to send that elevator back down to provide the knowledge and the skills that you've learned along the way to maybe help fast track their path to success. Because that's how we all grow together. We all grow together when we are willing to help each other. And so that was very, prevalent when I became a professional cheerleader with that group of Black women that invited me to practice after the day one auditions, and that's the foundation of Sideline Prep as well. We are there to help others fast track their way to success. We've been there. We've been professional cheerleaders. We've experienced it. And now we're sending the elevator back down to help, others rise up as well. And so just in life in general, I would say, don't forget to send that elevator back down.
I love that. Don't forget to send the elevator back down. That's definitely how I live my life. I'm always, everything that I've learned, I always give somebody else the same knowledge. It's like, hey, this is what you can do. Even with podcasting, it's so funny how so many people, other podcasters, watch what I'm doing. It's so funny how you don't know people are watching you the way they do. and they're always asking questions. And so I love that advice. Don't forget to send the elevator back down. I love it. I love it. This has been an awesome show, GeNienne. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and sitting down with me and talking all about Sideline Prep, and just a big piece of confidence, and the coaching on that is really awesome as well. Guys, listen, this is the Girl Techno Podcast. I am Shaunie Sanders, and I will see you next time.